And we are live on Twitch. How amazing is this? I got all this to work. And got an echo and everything as well because I was watching myself. Hello, welcome to the Beerumverate, hashtag the low-tech McWomble show, because Burkhoff is out of town having a good time. So he left me to try and figure this shit out, and he gave me a lesson on how to use OBS, which was about as good as one of Evan's English lessons. So that was pretty bad. It's just saying, yeah, so if you just click on here and that'll work. And it's like, yeah, it's not working. And it's just, yeah, so if you click on that and then that'll work, it's like, yeah, that's not working. It's terrible. It was pretty awful. Right.
Oh, it looks so pretty.
It looks so pretty.
I just popped it up now. Just look at it.
Right. We are the Beerumverate. We are a group of guys from Sifted.net who normally stream on Matt's YouTube channel. You can follow at Burkhoff on Twitter or anywhere else for that matter. And we are now on my Twitch stream because Matt's on holiday and he left me to... I'm getting messages from Twitch that I don't know what to do. Yeah, whatever. Let's just get on with it. All the text is in Times New Roman because I couldn't figure out how to change the font. That's just how we roll. Mitch, a big announcement for Mitch is I'm going to give you the... we did a game last week on the Game of the Game Awards. Where Mitch and I'm getting feedback. Are you getting feedback?
No, I'm good.
Okay, maybe it's just me. We did where we went through all, well, not all, because we didn't pick any of the esports categories. We picked our picks for who was going to win different categories of the Game Awards, and the results came out like this. In last place was Matt.
I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry I laughed.
With 6 points.
Oh, that means he only got what did he get right? Do you have did he get two categories right?
I looked, but I couldn't. I can't remember which categories he got correct. Oh,
That's
he got
okay.
he got Destiny 2, best community support. That was one of the ones he got correct.
Yeah, that's right.
In second place, we have Evan with 11 points. In joint second place with Jesus. 11 points, we have Keith. Which means our winner with 13 points was Mitch. Do you know what did it for you? Which game did it for you? Devil May Cry 5.
Devil May Cry?
Yep.
It's Devil May Cry 5. As soon as I saw that, I tweeted about it.
Devil May Cry 5 won it for you.
Picked it to win.
Yes, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I worked really hard on that one.
For your prize for winning, previously I just said it was going to be about bragging rights, and that didn't seem right. There needs to be something more tangible there. So at any point during the next year, you can have one occasion where you can tell anyone on the show that they have to agree with you, no matter what.
That's a lot of power.
So
a lot of power.
So that's not recurring though. You don't get it every time. You have to choose.
Damn. Okay, I'll pick my one time and I'll choose it very wisely.
Yeah,
I mean, we got new consoles coming out, so that's
for anyone who's on. So one time for the recurring ones, and any time any other guest is on, if they disagree with you, you can just say, no, I've got the power of the Game Awards.
I think if we get Shane on this show, I might get him to agree with me.
Right, so on the note that you are the champion, my friend, Do we want to do a quick overview before we actually get into the categories and the some of the more fundamentals of the Game Awards? Do we want to say how we feel about the overall ceremony?
Yeah, we can cover it. Yeah. Did you want to go first? You want me to, or what do you want?
There was a lot of music.
Yeah, there was. To my surprise, I didn't expect them to do that opening number, but I'm kind of happy they did. So I finished Death Stranding a couple weeks ago,
Matt
and
fucking Mikkelsen. Told you. I told you he was going to win. Told you.
You did say it.
Yeah.
But actually, that song, most people don't know it, but the song that they played in the beginning is actually that's the Death Stranding theme song. And the only time you hear it in the entire game is in the credits. But it's so cool and really noticeable as a song. I actually had to look it up while I was listening to it during the credits of Death Stranding. And so I was just like, what is this song? And I looked it up and it was this song. And I was like, I listened to it on my phone for like a couple of days nonstop. So, but I was just, yeah, there was a lot of music. I was surprised Green Day showed up of all things. I was like, wow, this is very different. Well, I will say they had. Oh,
do you know what? Do you know what I should have done? I got a bit too excited about being on Twitch and thinking that I'm going to start earning millions and millions of pounds from being on Twitch. That I forgot to do the intro. So yes, we are the Beerumverate. We're not here to promote drinking. Any beers or breweries we may be talking about aren't sponsoring us. Please drink responsibly. Blah blah blah. Let's get into the Game Awards. Enough said.
I'll give it to him. My favorite skit though happened to be the Muppet skit.
Oh, that was great.
That was my favorite skit. Horrible game choice in regards to like category. Like that should have been like best family game.
And if I'd gone with my gut and said Luigi's Mansion 3, I would have won by 1 point.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But guess who really won? This guy.
Do you know what I'm trying to do? I'm going to disagree with you so I can get my disagreement in early.
So and I will not change it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for a real moment.
Save it up for a real moment.
But yeah, that was just super awkward with the whole like games for change. Like that's usually something that would be more of a serious conversation, especially games that have real messages. And it just was so. It was too contrasting to the point I was just like, this took away the moment from that game a little bit because I was expecting the goose maybe to honk at them in the middle of their speech, and they should have done that for like Family Game because it would have been a lot better that way.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought there was maybe for me personally there was a bit too much music.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
So, and it may just be that I don't know who some of the artists are. I thought the orchestral stuff was brilliantly done.
I mean, I do like the orchestra always. It's always kind of cool to have.
Okay, Green Day playing it, doing a bit of a set. Well done. Yeah, why?
Beat Saber.
Yeah, but the bit for Cyberpunk 2077 with the live action stuff didn't make much sense to me.
I think they were trying to simulate things that you're doing in the game.
I know they had
the tub scene from the trailer for E3
that just
and
seemed
stuff.
Really overly contrived.
Oh, it was really horrid. I found that probably the worst musical performance I've seen in quite some time in regards to like a good high production show. That music segment was really bad.
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense to me.
I mean, it's cool to reveal the artists that were going to be involved in the cyberpunk soundtrack, and that was an interesting portion. But to add on with that performance, it just didn't work.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't get it's because the singer to me seemed like she was doing a bit of a Milli Vanilli. And
well, I didn't even know if she was live on her mic or not, or was it lip synced? It seemed like lip synced.
That's what I was saying. Milli Vanilli. You're probably too young to get that reference.
Yeah. I'm such a young sprout.
Young whippersnapper. Yeah, it didn't. That didn't come across. I really like the fact that they were going around all of these different people from various different genres and saying, actually, we're giving all of this stuff to the music producer, and they've kind of mashed stuff together, so you get kind of punk, futuristic punk, rap, metal.
Yeah,
That could be really interesting.
it'll be interesting overall. But I was a little. I mean, there were a lot of announcements and some surprises for sure in that
No
awards.
Hideo Kojima.
What do you mean? Like, no, he took the best game
Yeah,
direction.
he wasn't there though, was he?
Yeah, he took the award.
Did he? I must have skipped that bit. Admittedly, I didn't stay up and actually watch it because it started at 1:30 in the morning. So I thought, fuck that.
Oh, see, I stayed up and watched the whole thing, and so he did take. Death Stranding took 3 awards. I think it was direction, music / soundtrack, and then
The award, Mads Mikkelsen, best performance.
Mads Mikkelsen. That's the only 3 awards that they took. Story went to Control.
Yeah, and narrative.
That probably was Matt's. That's probably Matt's other award, other point of 3, because he picked Control as a dark horse for best story. No, graphics. Sorry, graphics. He picked his best
Yeah, because
graphics.
narrative went to Disco Elysium.
That's right. Yep.
Yep.
I guess we can get to some of the bigger surprises. That would be, we know what each console's called secretly, surprisingly.
Well, let's deal with the sensible one first.
Okay, so
it's the PS5.
Yeah, it literally just appears next to a game and apparently it looks like it's going to be a launch game. That's cool.
Yeah. Before we get into anything, normally we do a section about beers, but I may be the only one doing it. So I've got Northern Monk Eternal Session IPA.
Guess what? It is my last time on call in my career.
Woo!
Until whatever next job I take, we'll see. But I obviously I'll announce a lot more stuff about what's happening with me. People notice my apartment's disappearing. I'm moving and changing jobs, and we'll talk more about that later when I can talk about it. But yeah, it's my last day on call, so I do have not beer at the moment. So, but yeah, so we got it was Godfall. Was it called?
Oh, for Godfall's sake! Can we just get over that naming convention?
But what do you think about the look of it? Like, it seems like it's going to be it's a Loot Crate action.
It's a CG trailer. We've got no idea what we're looking at. In exactly the same.
If you've seen if you're on Twitter, there is a segment of gameplay online right now. It's very short. It's like 4 seconds, but it at least shows that's very much a sword combat loot driven game is what it's been told through Gearbox. That's my surprise is Gearbox is doing this for PlayStation. It's also coming to PC, but I was just surprised that Gearbox was going to be doing a project like this. I did not expect that from them.
Yeah, I don't know. In the same way that I thought it was a bit odd that you got 2 League of Legends crossover announcements.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't understand.
Who did Riot Games think they are? Do you think you're LucasArts? You are not Star Wars.
Or Blizzard. That's the other thing I can think of.
League of Legends is not Star Wars. So you can't have League of Legends, a League of Legends story, or whatever it was you were calling them.
Yeah. Well, Apex Legends was doing something similar, weren't they?
Yeah, their holiday event. I've played a bit of that. Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't that. They also are making a side game starring a character, and it's a third-person action game. Okay. If I remember correctly.
News to me.
Oh.
What was some of the, before we get to the big thing? I want to hold off from getting to the big
Literally
thing.
The big thing.
The big thing. And that's not a euphemism. What other? So Dungeons and Dragons. There was a CG trailer that revealed basically nothing.
Sekiro got not Sekiro, I'm sorry. Ghost of Tsushima got a release window, which is summer 2020.
That looks so good.
I know, and they clearly are stating it's for PlayStation 4. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a launch title, especially with them announcing Godfall. I think Sony may have other titles up their sleeve for a launch title for PlayStation 5 that people thinking that this is going to be a launch title, I don't think it's going to be.
Just a quick shout out to Shelburne for tuning in. Thank you very much, because he's got nothing better to do.
True, very, very true. But yeah, that's something I got off of that instantly. Was I have a big feeling that obviously I think it will be backwards compatible, so you can play your PlayStation 4 Ghost of Tsushima on it. But I do not think they'll release a PS5 version. They've been very clear in their marketing in the last couple of days of saying PlayStation 4, not PlayStation 5.
There'll be a PS5 patch.
I mean, I disagree with how that's working, but whatever. But we'll not going to use my power yet.
I guarantee there'll be, in the same way that Cyberpunk will do the same thing. There'll be the launch version, and then there'll be the enhanced version, which I know they probably won't charge you for it, but
no, they will charge you for it. They will, and if they're going to do it, they're going to release it as the HD remaster, and that's what they're going to do. And they're going to do it for PlayStation 5. That's what they're going to do. Like, I don't see this whole very integral jump. And I have another reason that kind of backs up why I think that way. And it's the big thing that we'll talk about later. But there was that.
You could probably bury yourself in it if you wanted to.
God, there was that. What else was a big announcement there too?
Untitled Goose Games coming to consoles.
That was already announced for PlayStation. Yeah, that was already announced. I don't think there's any other big game announcements that. I mean, they revealed a bunch of new games. Batman didn't come. Nope. We all thought Batman was coming.
Nope.
It's still nowhere.
Rumors, and there was nothing.
I'm starting to think it is going to be a next generation launch title. Like, I really think it's going to be like if they didn't announce it now, it's not coming out until the fall the soonest. Yeah. I don't see them releasing anything sooner. So I'm who knows, maybe it's going to be at Sony's PlayStation 5 reveal. Who knows? I mean, if Godfall couldn't make it and that's going to be console exclusive, I wonder what Sony is actually going to be showing when they have their console.
Before we get on to the Death Box, so the reveal for Senua's Saga, what was your take on that? Because I know you loved that game.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It didn't really change. This isn't. I can't speak about this game without talking about the big box in the room. So
before you do that, then can I?
Yeah. So I'm going to save my response about that game.
I was entirely happy with Senua's Sacrifice. I really don't feel like there's there's nothing that I saw that makes me think that I actually want to play another one.
I would in my mind, I would like to explore more of the main character a little bit more, maybe figure out where she came from, why, and maybe this is more a prequel of why she did what she did to save her loved one. And maybe this is kind of a prequels trilogy, maybe to kind of just set up of who she is as a character and what she had to go through. I think the setting was really interesting, and the voices is such a influential thing that I am fine with another game. Depends how they change it up. Like, if it's going to be very drastically different, I'm really nervous because I do want to keep it.
The one thing that I thought was quite intriguing was when she was doing the bit where she had her face painted and she was doing the kind of death metal voiceover thing. It looked like there was people behind her.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah, I saw that too.
It would be.
I think there are warriors, and they were going to go do battle.
Interesting if she was leading an army.
That's what I got the tone. That's what it came off to me, was she was leading an army into battle.
Yeah, if that's the way they're going with it, I don't know. You might be able to drag me back in, but I don't know. Right now, seeing that, I was just thinking, do I really want to play another one?
Now,
Probably
the
not.
only nervousness about that series that could happen is, now that you're mentioning that comment about the soldiers behind him and doing battle, is hopefully they don't make it feel like Heavenly Sword, because they're the ones that made that game.
Yeah.
And if it has a similar tone like that, like, don't get me wrong, Heavenly Sword, a fun game to play. It's not a great game. It's just a good game for a launch title and to try things out. It's a fun combat game. But if that's the route they're going to go with the story and the plot and everything, something similar in regards to how they take that, I would be a little nervous.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'll reserve my judgment, but right now my initial reaction was I don't want to play another one.
Yeah, my initial judgment was I was still trying to process what is happening with the big announcement, that it just kind of just went by me of like, okay, cool, they're announcing a new one, awesome. But what the hell is going on?
Right. So, in terms of any of the other actual games that were announced, is there anything else that grabbed us, or should we just deal with the big giant
Box in the room
box in the room?
or in your entertainment center?
It won't fit.
Have you seen? So I posted on Twitter because I've seen so many people bagging on this thing, and the first thing I saw was people are turning it into a fridge.
Yeah, it's on the starting point Discord.
Oh my gosh,
It's great. It was brilliant. Because do you know what that harks back to for me? The
what?
the announcement of the Xbox One, where they had Trey Parker and Matt Stone on, and he was ribbing on all the stuff about you can control your Xbox from inside your
Oh yeah,
refrigerator,
that's right.
and just gone bang. That was the first thing that I thought of.
But instead, it is your
It is
refrigerator.
your refrigerator.
Okay, so let's get into this. So my initial thoughts is, what the hell? I was really confused. I truly was. Like, I was able to see
Shelburn's just said, depending on the heat dispersion, you can make it double as an oven.
But I was honestly genuinely confused on what was happening.
When the green light on the top turns red, it's just fine for when you put your Hot Pockets on it.
No, that's the new Red Ring of Death. So yeah, they showed the car driving through the field, and I was like, okay. And then I saw Master Chief walk through, and then I was like, okay. And then I see this tower, and all I think of is this an Xbox PC?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Is Microsoft making themselves an Xbox that is a PC that you can then play your Xbox games, but also can PC game with? When I saw that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then, so then I saw the title, which was Xbox Series X, which I'm just like, can you please?
Before you get into this, for the love of God, either invite Mitch into the room when you're naming these fucking things, 2, fire the person who's naming these fucking things, or 3, figure out if you've got a disgruntled employee naming these fucking things.
And 4, change your guidelines that decide what to name these darn things.
Mitch is
I just think so.
The
they
one
popped the name.
who doesn't have the foul language. I'm the foul language version. If we were naming ourselves in the vein of Hideo Kojima, I would be foul language man.
Yeah, so they titled it Series X. Then Phil Spencer comes out and is talking about the next generation. And I'm still confused here because all they do is give a date. Like, they didn't clarify by putting, like, I was expecting them to maybe put Scarlet on the screen and then have it transform
transition
into
it, because we
Series
don't
X.
know what it is. For the love of God.
Exactly, I had no idea what it is. For consumers that only know consoles, because it looks like a PC, And the title is confusing because you don't understand what does series mean? Like, what does Series X mean? And why in the heck are you at the end of the alphabet? Why aren't you calling it Series A? It's the first one of the series, you dumb butts. Like, I don't get it.
Well,
I just
the end of the series would be Omega.
Whatever. I just and then I saw that, and then I saw a news article later for GameSpot that clarifies what this thing is, and that it clarified for me that this is Scarlet. And I said, this is the most horrid marketing I've ever seen of a console reveal because I had no idea what it was. So one more quick thing,
I don't
I'll
think
let you
Microsoft
rip
knew
on
what
it.
it was. That's why they revealed it.
Right. And so I thought I was the only one that felt this way. So I
You're
did
not.
core the internet a little bit of trying to figure out if I was the only one really confused by this. So I went to Easy Allies because they do a giant reaction of everyone together. And a couple of them had the same reaction I had, which was, what is this thing? And then they were trying to clarify it's Scarlet. And they're like, are you sure? Like, it just says 2020. Does that mean it's Scarlet? How can you know it's Scarlet based off the date? What if there's multiple SKUs? I just was, I don't know if this was smart for Xbox, especially for the way it looks. It is genuinely confusing for consumers on now what this thing is.
Can we get the name out the way first? So we've had the X-Bone, we've had the Xbox Sad, and now we've got the Xbox Sex.
Apparently, they have a lot of old people because clearly they can't figure these things out. They need young people to, catch on these phrases and say, isn't that going to be X? Because you can't call it Xbox S X.
Either that, or I had this thing with OTAPs on Twitter, which is the Xbox Essex. SXX, which is where he's from in the UK. So maybe the person who's on the naming convention was from Essex.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the initial reveal? I have a lot more stuff in regards to once I read the article on the details of the console, because I think there will be more than just this available at launch day.
Oh yeah,
I
think this is the. If it was a bespoke gaming PC, this thing would cost probably $1,200, and I think this is the thing that Matt and Shane were talking about. This is going to be the $800 gaming console to rule them all,
which is a big mistake. But go ahead.
Yeah. And the interesting thing would be is if they come out and say you can actually run Windows on this thing. So yes, it is a standard Xbox console, but also it's got Windows OS on it. So you can run Steam or your Epic Game account or anything on it, because I think the way that Microsoft got schooled this generation, I think they're going for the cross-platform approach next generation. So yes, we want people who don't have a PC but want access to lots of games to be able to play anything on our system that isn't a Nintendo or Sony exclusive. And that includes Steam and Epic Games exclusives.
It'll be interesting. That could be a method they could go. The front doesn't really make me think that's the method they would go because there's not extra ports of any kind, like USB ports.
We've not seen the back. We've only seen the front of the fridge. We've only seen the fridge door.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I am not happy. But just seeing the front makes me more inclined to think it's not going to be that, but that would be an interesting route if they took that way. But I guess overall, so if you look at the spec,
we were both confused about it.
Yes.
Shelburne he's confused about a great many things, but I think he was confused about it as well. I don't know why they did it there in that way.
Yeah, I think that was the word. What? And I submitted this as a question to Pactor too, in regards to how smart of a decision it was to reveal this at the Game Awards. Like, this is a great get for Jeff Keighley. Like, I'm not bashing in this announcement of saying like this is a horrible announcement, is not saying in any capacity this is a bad announcement for the Game Awards. This is a great thing for the Game Awards to have. But as a strategy for Microsoft, this was a horrible idea to give this to them.
In
Like,
that way,
there's not enough time to cover questions. And they came out with an article on GameSpot. I think it was GameSpot.
yeah. Well,
Instantly came out
they
with
gave
an
out some
article.
specs, and they said we've got double the flops, bitches.
Yeah, they said that, and then they said that it covers up to 8K for the future. And that is where I thought that this box is going to be extremely expensive. And then that makes me extremely nervous for Microsoft, because this is not the route they should be going. They should be going the route of what is going to make them most competitive. Right now, it's not their first party. They may have bought a bunch of studios, but they are unproven to release quality first party titles. Gears of War was good, or really good in some people's case, but it was not considered something like, if you compare it to a first party Sony game, it's comparing apples and oranges. It's not even close.
I'd just like to stop you there and say that Gears, Halo, and Forza, and Gears, Halo, and Forza, and Gears, Halo, and Forza, and Gears, and Halo, and Forza.
Now Hellblade.
Yeah, and now Hellblade. What I absolutely agree with you. You don't have to use your agree card, because we've had this conversation in the past, and I had this conversation with Evan and Liam. It's like, what are Xbox doing? You cannot sell these things just on the back of 3 games.
Yeah, and so they don't have the first party lineup to help
And
support, to say the price is worth it.
where's their God of War?
Yeah.
Where's
So
their Marvel Spider-Man? Where is it?
so in the end, the only thing that they have to compete on is price. And if they're going to be selling a console that runs 8K, that means that console is going to be above $500. And if that's
Well, we
the
don't know
case,
if they're going to they're just
unless
going
they're
to
going
take
to
a
eat the
massive cut
cost,
on it. Yeah.
unless they're going to totally eat it. Like, if they totally eat it, that's going to be really impressive. If they come out and say it's about $500, I think anything more than 500 is going to, for any console, this is Sony as well, is going to make people hesitate
Bulk.
to buy the console for sure. 500, I think, is a beyond limit of what people are wanting to pay.
Yeah, and so Sheldon's just stuck a comment in. Is that with 15 studios working on games that should be good for the next generation? It's like, yes, but what about launch?
And yes, you may have 15 studios, and this is where they made that announcement. But that's not compelling enough, because you have to prove that those studios can make something on Xbox that's worth it. They may have proven they can make something great somewhere else, and some of them are one game trick ponies so far. Like, Hellblade is an amazing game, but can they repeat with Hellblade 2? Can
And
they do
also,
that?
how well is that arena fighty, shooty, whatever
Yeah. And then on
5-on-5
top of
game's
that,
going
you
to be?
also have to think about these studios are also getting a lot more money, so many more resources. Is that going to hinder them in their success? Because maybe what made Hellblade so phenomenal is because they had limited resources, and so they had to be creative on how to make the gameplay work. So now that they have all these resources, is that going to cause them to make mistakes? And these studios, are they going to have to learn a bit?
Right.
So I don't think
I'm
because you
going to
have
come.
15 studios guarantees something.
No,
I don't.
because Sheldon's coming back on me on something that's launch has always been shitty. Microsoft cannot afford another shitty launch. They just can't. They fucked it up last time
Especially the way Sony
royally.
has ruled this last generation. They can't afford that. They need to hit on all cylinders,
Yep, they need to come out.
have a shot.
Yeah, out of the blocks. They need to be burning out away from the competition. And yeah, whether or not they can do that is something else. Right, we'll come back to this. There's something else that I want to get onto, which is the Facebook Please Love Me section. of the Game Awards. So you had the three people who were there who, and admittedly, this is a really good initiative, and I'm not shitting on the initiative. I'm not shitting on the people who made the games and who were there, but the absolute royal cynic in me is saying Facebook are doing this because they've had a really bad press over the last year, and they're saying, look, we're doing something nice, please love us again. And that was the I can't remember what the segment was called. The where they had the guy from last year who'd made a game about being a refugee, and the woman who had a game about being an Afghan
Yeah, I don't remember
immigrant.
the segment, but I know what you're talking.
Yeah, but the the thing that was the overriding message for me was Facebook screaming, "We're doing something nice, please love us."
That's not the way to win people over. That's a just disingenuous way to win people over.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It was a really nice thing to have on the show. It was really quite inspiring, some of the stories that the people had about what they'd been through and what they've done with their lives since going through those moments. But I don't know if it's just me being an absolute cynic, which I've been since I was a kid, so it's nothing new. But the thing was, as soon as it showed up Facebook Gaming at the end, it's just like, oh, I know why you're doing this. You've chucked Jeff a load of money to try and take some heat off you for allowing people to steal, allowing yourselves to have people's personal information stolen so you could use it in elections, you scumbags. And now you're trying to win us back because you've been nice to some people who are making games on your platform. That's just me.
No,
I'm not saying it's
in,
right. I'm just saying that's how I felt about it.
I agree with you 100%. I think the stories were really really extremely genuine and amazing and great to hear about, and to see what impact that it does for people is amazing.
Yeah.
The person giving the message
They were
still
all
needs to prove
really
themselves.
endearing as well. It's just the bit at the end where it just kind of flashed up Facebook Gaming, and when there was little things that they were saying there. Say, thanks so much to Facebook for allowing me to do this, and it's it's just taking your.
It's just unfortunate that such a disingenuous company had to.
Yeah, it just smacked like a PR exercise more so than actually something.
It's a company that still needs to prove themselves of really being genuine in that kind of.
Yeah.
So, I know you were doing a segue. I forgot one more thing on X sex that I have to talk about.
Oh no, we were getting back to that. I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned the bit about because we've kind of there was lots and lots of game announcements of which we've spoken about half, and we've skipped over pretty much all of them to get to the actual announcement at the Game Awards.
Oh yeah. So we were talking about I said earlier about being potential SKUs. This is where I think I heard a rumor for a while about, and I read another one to someone who breaks Microsoft rumors constantly. And so
Was it Evan?
no, it's actually a genuine reporter. I just don't remember the name, but I heard on a podcast, and he said that there would be two different SKUs.
Windows something. I know
Yes.
that. Yeah, I know the one you mean.
So he said that there would be two SKUs. There would be one that's a disc and one that's a diskless. And the diskless would not run in it would run in 1440 at 60 frames a second, and it would be diskless, but it can play the same games that the Scarlett could play. Now, with this type of announcement that Microsoft has done with this tower and understanding the specs a little bit more of this thing, being it potentially plays in 8K, makes me really think that there actually will be two SKUs at launch, a disc-based one, which will be that one, the Series X, and then I think the next SKU is going to be the diskless version, which I think they are going to try to strategically either line up as the same price as Sony's, or try to market $100 cheaper than Sony's.
Even if it was running, so the diskless version at the moment would still run better than the PS4 Pro.
A little bit more. It's not
Yeah.
by much, apparently.
So the PS4 Pro launched at £350. So
Yes, it launched at the price of the current regular PS4, and the regular PS4 dropped $100.
yeah, so I can't see them swallowing that. I can't just see them swallowing $100
Well, but also at the
or
same time,
£75.
I think it's a terrible idea. I mean, I understand trying to do a cheaper version, but when you're trying to compare it to Sony, which seems to be only doing one console,
Yeah.
you're basically just saying you can buy an inferior competitor, or you can buy one that is twice as powerful, potentially the competitor. I mean, we don't know the specs of the PS5, and we don't know how much it will do. I don't know if it's going to run 8K in the future. I don't think Sony wants to do that.
We
I
can't
think they want to.
see in 8K. So all
Yeah,
this stuff about 8K is I don't know where is it actual technical speak, or is this just marketing bullshit? Because our eyes
it was
can't
in the
see
article.
in 8K.
Yeah, it's just yeah, I think that's going to be Microsoft's plan, which I think again is a horrid plan. They really need to be competitive and not say that they're the most powerful console, because who cares if you have the most powerful console? You need to have the games, and right now they don't have the games. And so saying you're the most powerful console doesn't mean jack anything at the moment. So they need to. That's something that they will need to fix.
Yeah, right. Do we want to?
So that's everything on Xbox for me. I'm Xboxed out. I have too much sex. It was too much sex.
Too much sex box sex. All the box sex. Or the box Essex. I'm just trying to go through. I'm just going through the PUBG's new game. Why even bother announcing that in that way?
Yeah. That is again nothing special.
You showed about was it 10, maybe 15 seconds of a forest with some noises.
Yeah, I guess.
What do you want from me?
Yeah, I guess I will go this to you, and it's probably we both probably will admit this is probably the most surprising. We're gonna go to talk about the winners now. Of winning actually awards, and this is probably the most surprising game awards I've ever seen in regards to winners.
I was going to go through some of the announcements, and I was going to go through our E3 give a shit.
Okay, I'm done with that.
So, obviously, Ghost of Tsushima. Oh yes, absolutely. My God, that game looks gorgeous. Fast and the Furious Crossroads. Give a shit.
Oh my gosh. Did you see that game is $60?
Yeah.
Oh my god. It looks so bad for like graphically. It looks
terrible.
horrid. I thought it was gonna be like a $30 game. It was really cool to see them on stage. But man, and you can really tell they're gamers. That was about like the games that they would play backstage during their shoots. That was great. But I just Shelburne, I agree with you 100%. It looked like a PS3 launch game.
Okay, Weird West.
Don't give a shit.
I'm quite interested in that game. That looks it's kind of odd and creepy enough for me to get involved.
To be honest, most of these announcements at the game are not something that I found interesting.
Well, and the part of me is thinking it's how they've announced some of the stuff.
Well, you got 12 brand new games, and they're all gonna. Oh, so cool! Okay, these games are not like AAA games. Like you're overselling.
Yeah. Sons of the
But
Forest.
I get it. I get he has to oversell to get people to watch. So I get it. I get what he's trying to do, and I respect it. But I just don't like what you're announcing.
Sons of the Forest look
that looks
interesting.
Super creepy and interesting. I don't know what the heck it's gonna be.
It's probably not going to look anything like it did in the reveal, but for the reveal, it actually looked quite interesting. No More Heroes 3. Now,
I'm excited for that game. The trailer is hilarious, and I think it's the wackiest. I watched it a second time just to just to get my thoughts back on it, being like, was I just in the moment? And it is just as wacky as I watched it the first time.
Yeah. So the other one, I started watching it and thought, is this just a Civ ripoff? But no, it's actually a totally different game, Humankind, which is a blatant Civ ripoff.
Nah.
Then there's the game that everyone kind of swooned over, which is the different version of trailer of everything else that we've seen from Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh yeah, I forgot they had that trailer.
Which
that shows how much memorable that trailer. I totally forgot that trailer was
because
there.
you were too interested in your matte black fridge.
But to be truthfully honest about that is, I think everyone has seen enough, and we're just ready to play.
It just looked it looked like the same trailer for me, but just a different edit.
That, and then also because the game is in 3 parts, and part 1 doesn't have you leave Midgar, and Midgar looks exactly the same regardless of the whole city looks very samey and same color scheme and everything, and so it's not going to be you don't get to have opportunities like something like Ghost of Tsushima, where in that trailer you got to see so many dynamic color schemes change, and that kind of helps change the editing and the mood, where this for Final Fantasy VII Remake, you can't do that because the setting is exactly the same and the color schemes are always the same. So there's not much you can do with it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then the last one was Bravely Default 2, which is a JRPG, which means it gets my automatic don't give a shit.
Well, I never played the first one, and so I was not as wowed by this announcement because I've never even heard of it. So I was like, okay, cool. I mean, it looks pretty nice. I like JRPG, so I'm down for trying it.
Right. So the award winners.
Can we just go straight to Game of the Year? Because man, that was so surprising.
Never saw that coming.
Neither did I. I'm a little
How long has it been since there was another Soulsborne game? Is it 2 years?
Dark Souls 3 probably. Yeah, I think Dark Souls 3 came out 2 years ago. It's the latest one was Dark Souls 3 because before that was Bloodborne, and none of them were nominated. I don't think any of them. I think that was the first Souls game nominated.
Yeah, so I think it's just Soulsborne nostalgia. So there hasn't been a game out with a that kind of aesthetic with a stamina system and hard ass bosses. So all of the games critics lost their shit.
I think it's actually more of the diversity of the votes, if anything, is in my mind. I think honestly, a lot of games got a lot of votes, and it was a lot closer than we would ever expect it to be between all the nominees. I don't think I could never imagine. And this is where I wish they kind of revealed the votes because I would love to see.
Really love to see what the voting was. I really would.
I mean, I don't care who voted for what. I just see the total. Like, I would like to see what each game got voted for, how many votes it got each. Because in my mind, I see it as, Control got Game Informer's Game of the Year, so that's a potential that they picked that game as their Game of the Year. It also won Best Graphics, so there's a potential. I have a feeling that it was a lot of votes across the board, and it was just such a diverse group of games. Maybe Sekiro snuck in there and had a couple extra votes compared to the other games. And there wasn't a consensus like 2 titles to vote on to win. It was a consensus all of them to vote on to win.
Yeah.
Except for Super Smash Bros. I don't think it would ever had a chance. But then they also announced it got action adventure. So then also that made me think, as well in regards to that too, of being maybe it was spread around as well.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I've just changed the name of the show to the McWomble Agrees with Mitch Surprise Show.
Yeah, that's the only way I could see that I could only see twice winning game of the year because I did not even that was second to last on my list to ever winning. Like, I thought Control would have won over that game. And I played it. I never finished it because I didn't like it very much. It was well, I should reword this. I think the systems work pretty well and the game is quite enjoyable when you work at it like any other Souls game. I think it was more difficult in my mind than it was with Bloodborne because the counter system is such a thing that you have to rely on. It was sometimes extremely difficult to figure.
Not played it. No plans to play it. If people enjoyed it and they think it deserves Game of the Year, good for them.
But I will admit the game does do a really good job with quality, like never before, in regards to a Souls game. And so I think maybe that was the thing that may have brought it over the top for some people that are fans of this genre or type of game. So, congrats to Sekiro. You're a good game, but I just never would imagine you Game of the Year.
Yeah. So going in the awards that Google says, so we've done Game of the Year, multiplayer, Apex Legends. No one else plays that other than me. Ongoing game, Fortnite, because Fortnite. Narrative, Disco Elysium. That was one of the ones that I wouldn't have guessed, and I didn't because I thought it was going to be a Plague's Tale.
Me too.
Yeah. So well done to Disco Elysium. Well,
yeah, just Disco Elysium. They took the most awards that night, and it was extremely surprising to see that.
It seems as though single player games did really well at the Game Awards.
Yeah, like it's like I think that game is more loved than we would give it credit.
Well, if you multiplayer, single player, multiplayer, single player, single and multiplayer, because I'm just going through. So you've got Control, Disco Elysium, Gree, and Sekiro. Or Sekiro. Okay, Luigi's Mansion. I totally forgot that you can play Luigi's Mansion co-op. And if I'd remembered that.
But to be truthfully honest, I think when they saw the nominees, they voted Nintendo game, best family game. And that's where I was like, this category should not, it's a horrid category.
Yeah.
And my friend and I were texting constantly. He's a big Nintendo guy. And when he was making his guesses with me, he was making his guess like it was best Nintendo game, not best family game. And I was telling, no, they're going to totally based off the category. And that's why it's going to be Wii Fit Adventure, and it totally didn't end up like that. I was genuinely surprised. But at the same time, you want to hang your hat on for Luigi's Mansion to be best family game, not, best in its actual genre.
Okay. One thing I'd like to point out, so if there were more people from, I don't know, the rest of the world other than the continental United States picking best sports and racing game, FIFA 20 would have won.
Holy cow, yeah, I totally forgot that. When they said Nitro Fueled, I was, oh my God, McWomble, I'm so sorry. Because I was picking a soccer game too on my backup list.
Yeah.
I was so surprised by that.
I couldn't see that. I think the only thing that I can say is because I say all of the judges were from the US. So,
but at the same time, I could say maybe that I think
are suffering from
even though
FIFA
even though FIFA and PES are great games,
FIFA
They're the
fatigue.
same game every year like Madden,
Yeah.
so I think they were thinking, "What's new? What's hot? What's fresh? What's different?" It's Crash Team.
Yeah. But just going back to what I was saying, so if you look at the awards that have been won that are purely single player games, so you've got Disco Elysium, Devil May Cry 5, Fire Emblem Three Houses. You could probably put a case in for Luigi's Mansion, even though someone can play as Gooigi, but who'd want to play as Gooigi? Control, Sekiro, Gree, Death Stranding. So single player games won more awards than multiplayer games. Please, for the love of God, games industry, take that on board. There is a market for games where people want to sit down and just immerse themselves in a fucking world and play a game and escape from life for a bit.
Even though I totally agree with you on that comment, the only thing I'll push back and say is that that may be true, but financially, just because it gets a bunch of awards does not mean it's a financial success. Now, there is other financials to back up our
Depends what
statements
you
and
mean by
say
financial success as well.
true, and that's why I say take it with a partial grain of salt to put some of these people
It
that are
sold
looked like
below expectations.
yes. So it's only that you do have to consider it.
Yep. And how much it cost to make your game, because how much did it cost for Death Stranding to have all of those actors in it? It must have cost an absolute fortune.
Holy cow, yeah, right. But hey, it got a best performance award, so it's
Yeah,
all
well,
worth
it doesn't
which I
help.
was surprised Mad Mikkelsen there.
Oh, Mance doesn't care about games. He just cares about his kind of
Well, I
films
know
and
that, but like you'd think Hideo would kind of contact him and say, "Dude, I need you to be there for the Game Awards. It would be a great thing for me. Like, do me a favor, bro."
and Mads would be too busy counting his money. I'm just trying to think. Is there any other kind of notable games that won that we want to talk about? I'm really surprised that Gree won. Am I really surprised that Gree won? I don't know if I am, because it won Games for Impact.
I'm a little, but not a lot, to be truthfully honest. I think
Let's just make a game about how many games on the Games for Impact are games about depression. That seems to be the thing.
I do think though that Hideo Kojima winning best game direction, but not winning. Here, I want to bring this to you because I'm really curious by this answer.
Art
So,
direction was Control. Studio and game
yes,
direction was Kojima Studios.
yes. So, my question for you is: someone brought this up on, I think it was a question for Pactor, which I don't understand. I wasn't. I disagree with this comment, but I'm just curious on your thoughts too on it. Would be, shouldn't the game that wins best game direction win game of the year?
That entirely depends on how well it plays. Because, like you were saying, there are moments in that game where the transitions between shots are absolutely unbelievable. And I think the one that you extolled the most was when he was looking at something, he was talking to someone about something that happened to him in his past, and the camera panned into his eye and then spun round and then went back, and there was the view of what he viewed in the past. Now that seems like brilliant direction. Does the game play well?
Yeah, and I totally agree with you that I don't think it deserves to win that award. I guess my comment to that would be is, yeah, does the game play well? And the other thing you would have to consider as well, yeah, the game direction could be great in regards to, the themes that it plays with, the plot that it plays with, or the concepts they do in game. But does only direction make a game great? I disagree.
Mm.
So yeah, I agree with you 100% that it's not it.
So Shelburne said something in response to me, which is depression is pretty common. Yes, it is, but so is all of the tropes that you find in not. This may come across as being dismissive, and it's not. I've come across and dealt with close friends who have suffered from depression. Does that can that be the only determining factor? Because Concrete Genie, I would say, would have been my pick for Games for Impact, because it's more about turning pain into something creative rather than just having this beautiful scenario which is played out. And I need to play Agree so I can go through it, but the premise and the idea for me for Concrete Genie just seems much more empowering. So you're taking something from a difficult time in someone's life and turning it into something creative, rather than just people viewing this very pretty. And it's an extremely beautiful game from the elements that I've seen online. I don't know. And I'd like to think that people would take some of the things that you'd see, like Shelburne just said, it seems to be becoming a trope or a theme. Some of the things that turn me off of JRPGs, so all the things about friendship and stoicism and love and can we pick some more kind of human elements that isn't just about one thing?
Well, I think it's more of that how they approach them is very basic and is
Yeah.
unrealistic in the real world. Tackling a subject about love can be done really, really well when it's created under real scenarios, real situations with real moments
Mm.
that feed into the theme of love, but at the
Because
same time does not come off as like love's just this thing you do and it automatically just
yeah, because
appears when I'm super happy when I like this person. It's like, no, you have more feelings than just that. And so
yeah, because
exploring
the
those is what's really makes it more
delving into my feeling, I'm delving into my feelings about the category for Games for Impact. Why was Disco Elysium not nominated for Games for Impact? It's got such deep RPG system that you can delve into the reinforcement of negative thought patterns like machoism. So I think there's one skill tree, a macho skill tree, that you can reinforce the fact that you think you're a real hard man, and
well.
you're
I
you're
think
actually not. But by putting more of your attributes or whatever they are in the game into that, you reinforce the thinking in your own mind that you are, even though you're actually not. That is so much more in depth than any of the games and that is so much more thoughtful and impactful than any of the games on that list.
I think yes, but at the same time, I think potentially there was only so many nominees and it could have gotten votes, but maybe it just
Yeah,
didn't
well,
get
you think that
enough
they
compared
thought
to all those nominees.
we've nominated Disco Elysium we've nominated Disco Elysium enough times. We need to move on. No, we can't have Disco Elysium in Games for Impact. No, 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 no. We can't have Disco Elysium in Games for Impact.
I think the other ones have much of a reinforced message than you creating your own message because it's an RPG of if that makes sense. Like those games themselves
I
are
kind of
a pure
understand what you're
message and
saying.
it's a single. the single thread you're following that create that message, and not your own way of how you want to reinforces a message that you want for that character.
Matt's just dialed in. He's saying it looks pretty good. I'm coming for your fucking job, mate. Gonna rock this. As soon as I can figure out how to get rid of that black border around.
Hey, Matt, guess what? I'm so sorry. You were in last place.
Oh,
and
he knows. He
guess
counted
who
the scores
was
up
in
first.
first place? This guy.
Oh, and also just to Matt, just to say, totally arbitrarily, I decided that the award for winning the Game of the Game Awards was that Mitch has the power to make anyone on the show, any one person, one time, to agree with whatever he is saying.
So you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Mitch has got the power to tell you to agree with me.
Whatever I think. It's one thing. One is the master debater. One category, the winner, that really surprised me, because there was a lot of people on social media saying there was issues with it, was the Call of Duty Modern Warfare winning Best Audio Design.
Oh my gosh, yes, let's talk about that. That is an extreme surprise. I did not expect that game to win. That game to win that award I was taken back.
Because of most of the things that I saw online about Call of Duty Modern Warfare's audio was that, why are the footsteps so loud? Why is it, if you turn one sound setting down, why does it make all of the other sound settings sound really loud? So it seems like unless there was a massive patch that they put out before the Game Awards that all of the reviewers were playing, that one was really surprising for me.
Yeah, that was the one of I don't know what happened award. It's not like a Sekiro where like I could make sense out of this. This one is like I happened. I mean, it shouldn't even be nominated in the first place, but whatever. So, any last things on the Game Awards?
What could they do to improve the show? Not have it be 3 hours long? I think that would be a
Yes,
good one.
I agree 100% with you on that first. I also think they need to actually give away every single award to an actual person, except for the esports one. I think the speedy version of doing a couple was better than last year at least, but it also had some distasteful moments. I was just like,
Do you know
this
what I
game.
don't like at award shows? When someone wins an award and then the announcer says they also won this award. I said, well,
Yes.
no.
For sure. That happened at Disco Elysium.
Yep.
The Sekiro.
Yep.
When they won Game of the Year, I almost didn't catch it, and that's you don't even know that they won it sometimes. You don't hear it, and I don't care if it like gives away the next award. If Sekiro wins, most people are going to think it's going to win Game of the Year. I don't care. Give them the darn award and give them an opportunity to say something, because they deserve it. They deserve that moment on stage to say something. And they could easily get rid of some other things that they're doing on stage, whether that's the performances that they're going to do, whether that's less trailer announcements that they have, whether that's less promotion. Like, this thing should be 2 hours flat, done.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, some of the award shows are always contrived, but I don't know. I don't know other than shortening it and making it a bit more award focused. I understand that there were the Samsung QLED moments. I didn't mind those so much because I was watching it on YouTube the next morning and I could skip through that. But if you
Yeah,
watch
they weren't that bad watching
no,
them live, to be honest. They weren't that bad.
it was way better than what was it, Razor Man?
Did you see the Stadia ads though?
Oh my god, that was awful.
My friend was texting me going, "What the hell is like?" He knows what Stadia is, and he and I have been talking about it, but he just like how bad this trailer was. It was so bad. Yeah. The only other thing I would say about the Game Awards is something they also, what they should change is I think the winner from the last year, if they are there, use the star, like have them give away that next year award. Do something like
Yeah,
the
good
Oscar did.
idea. Yeah.
It would be cool to have Hideo come up next year and give away best direction to another great director, or Cory Barlog giving
Yeah,
to Hideo Kojima. It would be a really cool
that would be
moment
really
to.
cool. Is it one thing that I thought was missing from this year was a Lifetime Achievement Award? Was no one else deserving? Has no one else done anything
It's
meaningful in the games industry?
Yeah, because I thought there was one last year for the
There was
person
one
that
last year.
made
There was one the year
for
before.
someone that. Yeah, that's true. Oh my
Hideo
god,
Kojima
yeah.
was last year. The year before, it
Yeah.
was the one of the founding mothers of video games whose name I can't remember, and that's really going to bug
That's
me.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
know her name either, but I know what you're talking about.
so why wasn't there one this year? Was no one
That
deserving?
Yeah, to be honest, there should be one every year.
Yeah. If you're going to have
Past
one,
great creators and all that kind
yeah.
of stuff. David Jaffe should be getting, for God's sakes.
I
Like,
mean, the two doctors from BioWare, can they not share an
yep,
award? They'd be really deserving. I
that'd
mean,
be
my
great.
God,
There's
yeah.
plenty of people we could name definitely should deserve an award for a lifetime achievement type thing. Or yeah, it's just that was surprising. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Watching it through, so thinking, is there going to be a Lifetime Achievement Award? No, no, just glossed
Nope.
over that.
No, there was not. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so I think we're in agreement. This has been the very much the McWomble agrees with Mitch surprise show.
Yeah. And Untitled Goose Game didn't win anything.
Oh, that's so sad. I loved that game.
Screw that
Well,
game.
I mean, I never played it, but it's hilarious, and I'm satisfied with them having that Muppets Goose Game interaction. I mean, for that
Is it,
studio must have been so happy to get that from them to say, "Hey, can you edit and put I don't even know what the Muppet's name is, but if you could put that Muppet inside of your game for a minute and make him get chased by the
how
that would
dare
be
you not know who
hilarious."
Beaker is from the Muppets?
Speaker. I'm sorry. Muppets were past my generation a bit. I mean, they're still around, but I love, and I also love the skit. Their new invention was not non VR glasses.
Glue on VR glasses. Right. Thank you very much, Mitch, for being on. Thank you very much for Shelburne for being the one person to tune into the show. And
And Matt for joining super late. You
yeah,
should have
no,
joined earlier.
no. He's on vacation. He's doing stuff. Uh, he's
He's
just
just too young. Would have been better.
stolen Waldorf. Not quite. Right. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been the Low Tech McWomble Show, also known as the show where, strangely enough, I agree with Mitch on everything.
Which next week will be our. I think it's going to be our end of the year. Are we going to do our end of the year with a lot of people hopping on this one? I know we talked about it slightly.
Yeah. Next week I am away, but I'm hoping to be around about the same time next Saturday.
Okay. We'll keep you all updated on what's going on, but for sure we do of our and would like to invite some people to join us as well. So we're kind of working on that behind the scenes. So we'll
Yep.
keep you in the loop. Just follow us on McWomble at McWomble and myself at Mitch Secor. So just hang on and we will let you know what's going on with
And don't follow Matt because he's a loser. Loser.
Oh yeah.
6 points. 6 points is just disgraceful.
I'm so sorry, Matt, that you only got 6 points. But to his credit, at least he got 2 of his actual game announcements correct.
Yeah, but you got 5, I got 4.
But I'm trying to think.
Evan
I'm
got
trying to
4.
think of based off my points of how many guesses I actually got right and how many of them were by backup guesses.
You got
So
two. You got 2 backups and 4 correct points.
oh dang! How many did I get to choose from? Was it 5?
Yeah.
Or did I get all? Oh, so I only missed 1. Which one was that then?
Bear with me.
See, I don't even remember.
I'll check the
I don't
Google
remember.
Doc. Google Doc. You got 4 out of 5 right, and 1 backup, and both Evan and I got 3 out of 5 right and 2 backups.
What was my one backup? What was my one I got? I wonder what that one was.
Right, you were red.
Yes. It probably was audio. Did I pick audio? The fact that I won and I have no idea what I picked, setting me up great for the future.
Call of Duty Mobile.
I got that one right. No, I'm sorry. Call of Duty Mobile was not the winner. It was something else.
No, you got that one right. Destiny 2 was your best community support.
Oh, I got that flip-flopped. That's what it was. Damn it. Picked the wrong one.
Best fighting game, Smash. Yeah, anyway, doesn't matter, you won. So
I won.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's all that matters.
It doesn't matter what you win by as long as you win.
Hell yes.
And on that note, the Beerumverate is out.